What did you do, Morgan?
I started putting air in his hair while he was asleep.
Huh? I just got to let it.
You need some time to process.
Yeah, to process.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Man, I would love to say I hate to tell you I told you so, but that would be a lie, and I'm not gonna lie to you yet. Okay, I'm not gonna do that to you. I ain't done that in the last few years. I ain't gonna do it to you now. Okay, all right. I don't want to say it, but I want to say it. I told you so. Okay, I had too many arguments in the chat about Blake that people were missing Morgan. We already accepted that Blake is a bit of a madman, but we were saying, look at Jeffrey and look at Morgan. But people didn't want to think about it. Okay, we didn't want to think about it. We didn't want to think about it. Not everybody. There's a lot of people there's a lot of women that actually did also agree, by the way. So not saying that at all. That women didn't want to see that at all. There was just some people that didn't see it, you know. So listen, we're gonna talk about it, okay? Because for you to put nair in somebody's hair, you know, no rhyme intended here, okay? A hair removal cream while somebody slept, all right? The fact that this even burns as well when you're removing the hair sometimes for some people. You don't know if the person's even allergic. You rubbed nair into somebody's hair to somebody who originally y'all weren't even serious. Y'all said that you weren't even serious. So I'm so confused. I'm not confused. So it's we now understand that, you know what? Blake, Morgan, Jeffrey, they're all in the same bracket. Problematic. They're all in the same bracket. Flippin' okay? Flippin' matic. Okay? All right. And the reason being is because of emotional unregulation. For Morgan, it is emotionally unregulated. This is the problem. She can't regulate herself, and the anger that she has underneath the surface, the frustration that she has underneath the surface, bubbles up. Remember, I told you guys about passive aggressive people and how they can act. We spoke about this on the panel on Thursday night, talking about Jasmine from Married at First Sight. Oftentimes, we talk about men and their passivity or their passive-aggressive tendencies, like Blake. Blake is manipulative. He's hiding beneath the surface. We saw a little bit of Blake's behavior today. When they asked him a question, he had to reassess the question because he wanted to reassert the dominance. We see that with Blake, right? But because only we were looking at Blake, we were missing Morgan and Jeffrey. Jeffrey, a different reason why I say Jeffrey's a bit problematic. She's out here doing decorative accounting, okay? What we call decorative accounting, where you start to spruce up the accounts to make it look a particular way, but really and truly money's still missing. Yeah. But with Morgan's issue, the lack of regulation is coming from the fact that there is an inability to tap into the emotions the way she needs to, and when she does tap into it, it's frustration and anger, very much like men do when they're unable to express themselves fully because they've been suppressed for so long. Okay, and we can see that. But for it, and you're absolutely right. If a man was to take nair, the product nair, and then put it into a woman's hair, suspecting because he thought she was cheating, right, and rubbed it into her hair, that would be assault, right? And I would be very scared of that man. I'm very scared of Morgan. I told you guys the other day, I was joking about it. I really was joking about it when we were talking on the live about Dana, her live where she talked about her man. She found out her man was cheating after going through his phone at nighttime. And I joked, I said, you know, that's the situation where someone takes a little fork and they and I was joking, saying that, you know, they rock back and forth in the bed. You know, I was joking. But actually, for this to happen, with Morgan talking to us and telling us she went and put this product in his hair at this particular time because she thought that he was asleep. No, because he was asleep, and because she thought he was cheating. But I thought you guys, you know, in your instance, I thought you guys weren't even serious. Now, when I say that the joke that she made a week or two ago, where she made that joke all about, don't let me hurt you. I said to you guys, be very careful when people make that kind of joke. Don't let me hurt you. If it was a man, we'd all look at it more seriously. But because a woman, we're playing around. I said, no, be very careful of people who make jokes about don't let me hurt you. Because really and truly, they do try to hurt you. They do try to hurt you. Right? They do try to hurt you. So now you have to be very, very careful about this kind of person. Let's just listen a bit more. I want to go back because I want to show you something, right? Let's see if I can get it correctly. Situation here.
God.
And then Anthony had to leave.
Sorry, let's go a bit forward. Let's go a bit forward.
Like that.
I'm like, you can't call both of them a liar. You have to tell me.
All right, sorry. I want to get to a part where she started the conversation. All right, I want to go to a part where it's a conversation at the beginning. Anyway, first and foremost, guys, welcome to Little Black Book. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button if you haven't done so. If you're new to this channel, we keep it real funky, real fresh, and we keep it real respectful on this platform. If you're new here, listen, this is a community that we've built for both men and women to be able to share their thoughts in a safe, respectful manner. All right, so this is a lovely space for you to come and join. If you love TV shows, come. We have panels, we have live talks where people can join in on every Tuesday and Sunday. We have live talk conversations, Sunday for men, a Tuesday for open panel between men and women. And then we do Ready to Love on a Saturday, and a Thursday night we do Married at First Sight. We do a whole lot of stuff, right? Now, make sure you click on that like button, all right? Click that like button, all right? Cool. So, yes, going back to the conversation with Morgan and what she said, I wanted to watch how she describes this situation of what happened to Tommy. She knows she's moving mad, and it was a madness. Let's just see.
Hey, talk to me. X and next. How did it go?
It was just bad.
Okay, talk to him. Who's the ex? What's his name?
His name is Junior, and I brought Tony and Lyndon. Lyndon's a lighthearted guy. He's very kind.
All right. So it started off real nice. She's explaining about her situation with Lyndon and Tony. By the way, Tony came into that situation pissed off. I don't know what happened to Tony. I'll do that in my separate review. But Tony came into that conversation annoyed, right? Tony really looked a bit frustrated. I don't know what happened, but he came into that conversation a bit pissed off. But we'll discuss that later on, right? Okay.
Tony, not so much. The conversation was going back and forth, and Tony's face over there is just mad.
Why is he boiling?
So Junior.
Okay, so she goes in again and says, Junior, that Tony looking mad as heck. But to be honest, he was mad before he got there. I don't know if that's Tony's way of trying to assert control in a conversation or situation, but when he entered the room, it was bad vibes. And I'll do that on I'll talk about it in my separate review. You watch his body language, it was very off in that moment. And then the comment about Junior being short, he probably is Ghanaian, to be honest, Junior. But about Junior being short and he wasn't, and it's like there was stuff that when that's not alpha to me. When you do that kind of stuff, that's not alpha to me. That's insecure. When you have to talk about another brother's height and stuff like that, don't get it twisted. Everybody's gonna think something and call it that, all right, because he's short. But the reality is you should be focused on you, about what you bring to the table, that you believe that no one else can bring what you bring. But when you start focusing on someone else and what they don't do or what they do, yeah, you're kind of missing away from the alpha male. That's not the alpha male. In that instance. So for me, yeah, that's not it at all. So yeah, I honestly, I was looking at it like, yeah.
Discloses some things that I did to him towards the end of our relationship.
What'd you do to Junior?
God, you're gonna have to forgive me, but vengeance was mine.
What did you do?
Notice how she prefaced it. She said, God, you're gonna have to forgive me, but vengeance is mine. She's already started trying to put a little disclaimer out there for it, but the reality is she doesn't need to. Because if you believe it was your right to do it, why are you putting a disclaimer for it? Because you know what you did was wrong. But instead of saying that what I did was wrong, she's still prefacing it with vengeance is mine. Not once has she said this was wrong. In 2 occasions she spoke about this. Not once did we hear this was wrong. Hmm?
He was a liar, and I got tired of it. And I bought some Nair. He has really beautiful hair. He's got gorgeous.
So she's again prefacing it with he was a liar. Okay, he's a liar. And you know, again, she's giving us reasons as to why she did what she did, rather than taking accountability for what she's done. Right? Rather than taking accountability of what you actually done, you're again now prefacing it with he's a liar. Okay, all right. He you know, vengeance is mine. Okay, right? Babe, this is very intentional behavior. You had time to stop, think about what you're doing, not to do it. But when you are emotionally unregulated, this is what happens. When you are emotionally unregulated, what you start to do is that you start to react wildly, and it will look wild to us because you're not controlling how your emotions interact with your actions. So your emotions are actually guiding your reactions, and you feel like you're being hurt in this point by him lying or whatever, by him not telling you the truth of where he was going. That's a disrespect to you, and disrespect can become a very big thing for people that are unregulated. It's like, nah, I'm not even emotional. It's just disrespectful. So you hear people say that. When you hear people that are not very well regulated, disrespect's one of the biggest things they have a problem with. It's like, I'm not emotional. It's just disrespect. And they are the wildest people, okay? Because they're pretending as if they don't have emotions. You do. You're just not connecting with them. And you're unwilling to sit in it and actually to face it and what you actually feel. And I pointed it out some weeks ago when she did the whole tit for tat, when Tony was talking to the girls, and then instead of just saying, you know, Tony's a sexy man or whatever, she said, no, Lyndon's the most sexiest man here. And then I choose myself. And I said, yeah, she's playing a game. She's playing a game, but she's unregulated. And so when she feels hurt, she cuts back. Get ready for Morgan, because if you cut her, she gonna cut you back. And the reason being is because attack is the best form of defense. So because she's hurt by situations, instead of sitting in it and be like, do you know what? And communicating effectively, I was hurt by the situation, she does actions, what we call quote unquote dark arts, right? And we spoke about this also on this channel when we spoke with Sam, and she was telling us about her dark arts with her husband, and we're telling her, no, babe, that's not how you go about it. You see, you may think we listen now, but later on, it's going to become a problem, right? So when you don't want to sit in your emotions, they tend to flare up later on. When you don't want to acknowledge you have emotions, they tend to flare up later on. When you're disappointed, when you're hurt, when you are frustrated, they're going to flare up later on. You cannot bottle all these emotions forever. Because it's not, I'm not genie in the bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. Well, you rub Morgan the right way, she's gonna definitely show you there's a genie in the bottle. And that genie ain't a good genie either. You're gonna have some wishes. Okay? You're gonna have some wishes. All right. So her reactions are much more wilder than it needs to be because she's unregulated, right? Because she doesn't deal with her emotions.
His hair is his pride.
What did you do, Morgan?
I started putting Nair in his hair while he was asleep.
Huh? I just got to let it.
You need some time to process.
Yeah.
You know, some things are mad. Some things are mad. That is very wild. That is very wild. Yeah, that's very, very wild. To go and put Nair in somebody's head because you felt like they did you dirty. Now, her thing will be, I didn't kill him. You know, I didn't take a knife to him. I didn't take a gun to him. I didn't, you know, all I did was put Nair in his head. It's like, babe, like for you to burn off somebody's whole head top and all his hair to fall out, and you know that his hair is very precious to him, sis, You're dangerous. Okay, you're dangerous. Ooh, boy, you're dangerous. Sis, you're dangerous. When it comes to relationships, she's dangerous. And also, I want to separate this. Listen, people come on this channel and not this channel, but people come on TV, and I'm starting to be. I want to be a bit more gracious as well, right? Who Morgan is in her workplace isn't exactly the same person as who she is probably in a relationship, right? There will obviously be some overlaps, but I want to make it very clear. I'm sure she's probably good at her job, probably amazing at her job. But when it comes to relationships, it can be very dangerous because I'm realizing that, of course, these people are coming public figures, and I want to make it very, very clear, that people can be amazing at their job, but personally, they may have problems. In a relationship, they maybe have problems. So, relationship wise, yeah, she's not showing the kind of grace and respect that she needs in a relationship.
All right, Jeffrey, how are you?
I was gonna say that why are the ladies laughing, but I said I don't know what would you do? What would you do? Find out someone done that. Probably only thing it's probably a nervous laugh. What can you do? Now let's just really break down the situation between in fact, no, I forgot something. There was something I wanted to talk about, and it was the way they spoke about what she spoke about Blake with. Okay, so I don't know if I can get it.
The most.
Andre and Mark.
Oh no! I want to. Let me see if I can get this point. Hold on.
That being said, I didn't have to talk to him to get.
Cool. There we go. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Everything people.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Morgan, the Blake situation as well, because it's actually starting to be quite interesting, the situation, right? Because obviously Mercedes let us know in this episode, I feel like, Blake, I don't want to see him because obviously he's playing around. But my issue is, if Blake isn't talking to you, how is Blake being dragged into this? Now, of course, I don't speak too much because I think they're separate, but how is Blake being dragged into saying, if he's not talking to you, Mercedes, if he's not talking to any of the other women apart from Sue-Ann, how are we still having an opinion on somebody? This is really, I'm looking at it like, it don't make sense, right? How are we still having an opinion on somebody who is not even trying to move to any of you, right? But then watch what Morgan says, and that's what I'm saying about this issue.
We're saying in terms of
that's smooth.
it's just not my vibe.
Mercedes?
I'm gonna have to put Blake in my bottom. I think that if he is at all trying to play games like it.
Notice the language Mercedes uses here. And this is where I say that it feels like the ladies have kind of got together sisterhood and are trying to get Blake out rather than actually people are actually having experiences with him. This does not mean that Blake is not manipulative. I'm just saying that to the extent that certain people are taking it to, i.e. Morgan and Jeffrey, something is very off, right? Something is very, very off. Because when you listen to the language she's using, she's not even talking firsthand. She's talking secondhand. And that's given me pause for concern because you're having an idea or something about the depravity of someone, but then you're not actually having your own experience with them, right? So I'm confused, but I'm not confused. You know what I mean? Yeah? Okay, I'm confused, but I'm not confused. Okay, let's go. Let me just listen to what she says here. Just real carefully. She's gonna end it this way.
Everything people are saying in terms of
that's smooth.
it's just not my vibe.
Mercedes?
I'm gonna have to put Blake in my bottom. I think that if he is at all trying to play games like it appears to be, that's not okay with me.
Pause right here. The wording she uses is if he's playing a game, so you don't know. If he's at all playing a game, then he need. But baby, you don't know. That's why you're not saying it. So now what we're having is this reason, which again, this is what I was saying about sometimes people. I don't get it, right? So where the if means you don't know. You don't know. This is not me necessarily saying that Blake is free from being critiqued. No, he should still be critiqued, of course. But to the extent where I'm seeing some things how they're critiquing Blake, is like, wait, you don't even know Mercedes. But again, what's happening is people are using other people's experiences and then saying, if. What's the if? If you know or you don't know. If you don't know, because you don't know. Right? If he's playing a game, then he doesn't. Well, you don't know. So how are you using that? Just say, I haven't got a connection with Blake, and that's what it is. But now you're feeding into, and that's letting me know that Mercedes, you're easily influenced along with these women too. I got to watch out for you. I watch out for people as well. Right? I watch out for them as well. Okay. And it's not about the fact that she can't vote for Blake. No, just say that I don't have a connection with Blake. We don't get on. You know what I mean? We don't get a romantic connection. Me and him don't get a romantic connection. But you're talking about something that doesn't involve you. You have not been in it. You know, you're not in it. You know, so there's no personal, you know, you actually experiencing that. So, you know, let's go further. Right.
When it comes to matters at heart, play chess with love.
I don't have any communication.
Pause. Listen to what Morgan's about to tell you. This is where it's important. Morgan has no connection, no communication with Blake. Listen to what she's about to tell you. This is why I said about watch out for people like Morgan who are anticipating by, you know what, maybe Blake reminds her of something. Maybe Blake makes her feel some type of way. Of course we know, but listen to what she's about to say. Okay? Listen to what she's about to say.
With Blake. That being said, I didn't have to talk to him to get a really bad impression of him and to make my own conclusion of him.
Pause. I didn't need to talk to Blake to get a really bad impression of him. Do you know what that's called? An assumption. It's called an assumption. You have no interaction with him, no talking. Of course, we know we know you've obviously spoke to him because you had that conversation in the thingy, whatever. But what you're really saying is, just like Janique did, and I'm trying to get you guys to pay attention now. Janique has done the exact same thing that Mercedes has done. Morgan is now showing us this as well. How can I trust what Jeffrey said? Because now 3 people are telling us stuff that they're not experiencing. Right? So now Morgan is saying to us, of course, we know she interacted with Blake, and we know how that turned out. And what she's saying is, you know, I didn't get a good impression. What she's speaking about is the very beginning, is when she didn't have to speak to him to get a bad impression. It's like, okay. So you just making up how you feel about people just before you even see them, before you even talk to them. So we're writing people off before we speak to them. All right. Okay. So that's Janique, Mercedes, Morgan, writing people off before we see them. And then these people telling us he behaves badly, but on camera, we only see them behaving out of pocket. Right? So something else is playing afoot to the way that Morgan feels about Blake. And it's more to do with herself than it is really about Blake. You know, let's keep it a buck. Yeah. Yep, he did. He definitely did. Do you know why? Because he says this. It's something that's going to get you kicked off the show. But the reality is that should not make someone feel the way that they actually, or the way they're talking about him. If he's cold and he was closed off, yeah, vote him off for being closed and closed off. We hear that. But the way Morgan's talking about him, it's like he's not a nice person. No, he's closed and he was cold about it. I can agree with that. Janique didn't get a good impression from that particular date. But Janique was talking about a situation that was predating her. She said she was warned by the other ladies before she even got there. Nothing else about that was to do with necessarily him per se. It's to do with the fact that they've all got their mind focused in a particular area. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so I definitely agree with that, Mel. Definitely agree that Janique was definitely, that Janique date he was closed off. But he told us this already. When he doesn't like people, he doesn't open himself up to that. Do you know what I mean? So if anything, he should be voted off the show for that. Yes. Yeah. You know, so definitely you can say that he should not be voted off for that. He shouldn't be on the show for that. I agree. But the level of dislike for Blake, it made no sense. You know what I mean? Again, say exactly, Miss Oni. Never a bad word said about them. Never a bad word said about any of them. So again, where are we going with this? Yes, where are we going with this situation? Right? But let's go on to the actual I think that was only from, I think that was it actually.
Is that he's not a good person.
Sue-Ann, how are you?
I do respect what they're saying in terms of what their interaction was, but I know what our individual.
Now, of course, we can talk about Blake and his actual playing about with with Sue-Ann. I think we all kind of know that, you know, Blake is kind of playing with Sue-Ann a little bit. I think that's not even debated. We can all agree with that. I don't think we have to debate that. I don't think he's fully into Sue-Ann like that, if I'm honest with you. We don't need to debate that. I think we all agree. Yeah, we all agree that's not it. You know what I mean? So I ain't even mad at that. You know what I mean? I'm with you guys on that as well. Okay, let's play a little bit more then from the beginning. Let's go. Let's see. Let's have a look at this conversation here.
I get on Instagram, and where's this guy? He's with his ex-girlfriend / god moms, whatever y'all got going on.
All right, cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, the date that they had. I'm going to go slightly back. So where I put it from, I actually missed a part of the conversation. There was a really important part that was spoken about by the gentleman because he said something very, very interesting. And it related to what I said about Morgan, the fact that because she's emotionally avoidant, or, you know, she's going to end up playing a game. Yeah. Okay. You know, I think the reality here is that, you know, I think the reality here in the situation is, you know, Morgan showed us a little bit of this earlier on in the season where, like I said, when she did the whole I'm choosing Lyndon, whatever, but we see that she can play a game, and then the reason is that she's scared of being hurt. But when you get scared of being hurt, you end up getting hurt because you're too cautious. And then you put yourself in situations you don't need to be in, because what you're doing is you're also not being true. And then you're trying to accomplish an agenda without being upfront and upfront about the situation. Okay. You know, we're not saying you're not being upfront. We're not being upfront about the situation with Morgan. Okay. And because she's afraid if I'm upfront, I will be rejected, and that will cause her more pain and more hurt. And when you're not tapped into your emotion, you're not tapped into your into feeling, then what happens is you end up being cold and you end up trying to play the game, because what you're trying to do is protect yourself. All right. So listen to what he was kind of saying here, and then so I can get this story going.
But my eyes was like, you know, she caught your eyes the first time.
So what did you like about me? You asked them, what did you like about me?
Good question.
You know what I like about you. You know, when we first met, her intention was.
Now he's about to say something. What's really key about this situation is this: not one of them, apart from maybe Tony slightly, not one of them told us what they like about Morgan, apart from the fact that she's beautiful. That hurt me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, Morgan's a bit moving mad, but it hurt me a little bit to hear that. You know, that even Lyndon, who you say is really nice, couldn't give us something he liked about Morgan. Everything, Lord, you are everything to me. You know, like everything. We know she's a baddie. Talk to us about something else. What about her? And then Morgan was like, "Oh, that's sweet." Was it? Was that sweet? You couldn't even come up with something personal. Do you know how many baddies there are in the place? Do you know how many bad D's are in the place? Huh? Do you know how many baddies are in the place? Hmm? Do you know how many bad gal are in the place, and you're telling me all you can tell me about me is there's baddies? This how
I'm
I
starting
felt.
to lose faith. I must admit, this stuff is starting to depress me.
Yeah. Because why are we not able to tell her what we actually feel about her? Huh? Tony barely says that. He said we have a spiritual connection. What is it about her? What is it about her? I love this point as well. The allure is coming also from the mystery that is perpetrated by the emotional avoidance. When people who are emotionally avoidant oftentimes become mysterious figures because they don't promote their emotional they don't promote their emotions, right? They oftentimes are very mysterious because they're not putting their emotions first. So they're very withdrawn, it seems, right? That's what creates more of their allure. It's a mystery. I wonder what she's like. What's she thinking? What she do? Do you know what I mean? But it's because a person's not attached to their emotions. It's sexy now until you get into a relationship. But you're actually right. She's mastered that, right? She has mastered that. So she will always attain. But if you don't do the work within, you will never maintain. You know, I always talk about that, guys. She will always be able to attain because the mystery she perpetrates out of her emotional avoidance is sexy. You know, that little bit of coldness, that little bit of aloof, that little bitness of where you're a little bit cold. Yeah, it's all going to look sexy, but will you maintain? That's the question. All right, cool. Let's have a look.
Like, you was gonna play with me. She was not ready for a relationship.
Who, me?
Yeah, you wasn't.
I made it very
So he goes and says she was gonna play with me, which is quite interesting, right? He was gonna play with me. And then she says, who? Me? Play with you? No. And then she says, no, I'll tell you the truth what happened. I already told you I'm not looking for that kind of seriousness, right? Let's look again.
clear that we could just keep it funky. We tore the town up, and
And
it
what
was
happened?
nice. And you said you wanted to be serious with it.
Pause. So now this is where it gets techie because then he goes on to say, I wanted to make it more serious. But then she obviously let him know that, okay, she's also saying as well that I was trying to keep it fresh and a bit funky and we tore up the town. So which one won in the end? Because it's going to be very important because one is even worse than the other. If we both agreed and stayed at not being serious, then you put in something in someone's hair is even more mad. Right? Right? But then if you end up in a relationship, I'm not gonna say I'm agreeing with your behavior. I'm gonna say I can understand a bit more. It hurts a bit more. But if you told him from the very beginning and it stayed that way, and if it stayed that way, then why did we have to put Nair in his hair? Right? But I think what Tony picks up later on kind of confirms what we're saying, that something wasn't quite right in the milk. Let's have a little look.
She's a smart woman. I thought you were crazy too.
Uh-oh. You got scored? You got scored? Early.
Now, this is where it gets a bit peak. Because now the brother said she's a little bit crazy. And Tony's like, uh-oh. You gonna give us a little story? Okay. You gonna give us a little story? Let's see. It's about to be a bit of a mad one still, you know. It's gonna be a bit of a mad one still, right? And so we've seen obviously this particular aspect. And what's more interesting? I'm interested that a lot of people are not calling Morgan a narcissist. I don't think she is one, by the way. Very far from it. But you notice that if a guy was to do this, the very first thing you hear from some woman's mouth is he's a narcissist. Morgan is not a narcissist. right? But I'm surprised we're not here. I'm not surprised actually. I'm not. I know we're not. We don't hear that. Do you know why? Because oftentimes women tend to think there's a reason why they behave the way they did. There's a justification for the behavior. When men do things, there's no justification for the behavior. They're just narcissists. No, because of course, like, you know, if a man did this, he's a narcissist, right? If he puts nair in your hair and all your hair goes, definitely a narcissist, right? But if Morgan does it, I don't hear, and I'm not talking about my audience, by the way, because my my audience are pretty decent. I went onto Twitter, nobody said she's a narcissist. Everyone either said I disagree with her or I don't like what she did, but narcissist never came up. You know why? Because there's a common thread of instantly labeling men who do you dirty as being narcissists. And I keep saying we need to step away from that. Not everyone's a narcissist. Not everybody is falling into that bracket. Some people are just bad vibes. They are broken and they are hurt individuals. The same thing with Morgan, which is why you never hear me saying she's a narcissist, because I don't believe she is one. She's broken, she's wounded, just like a lot of men are. So when people are saying Blake is a narcissist, Blake's a narcissist, I'm looking at like, so how you know he's a narcissist? Oh, because I know my ex was a narcissist. How you know your ex was a narcissist? People are abusive without being narcissists. Some people are just broken. You know what I mean? Some people are just broken. You know, some people are just literally broken, wounded individuals, and it comes out in different ways. Some people are a bit more covert with their abuse. Some people are a bit more overt with abuse. What we've seen with Morgan is a more overt person who's has tendencies to abuse in this instance. But she's not a narcissist. She's not. Right? She's not. Yeah. So just for anybody out there, you know, I know women are genuinely meeting narcissists out there. They generally are meeting narcissists, but also I believe that some people are just generally meeting abusive people. And it's like, it's not everyone's a narcissist. Do you know what I'm saying? But again, I'm not discounting people's experiences. I'm more trying to say, let's be cautious about the way we label everything being a narcissist. You know what I mean? When we're not doing the same for ladies when they move mad. Jeffrey, I've not called her narcissist. I don't think she is one. You know, so yeah. All right, cool. Let's play on.
So one time, right, me and my boys went out, we have a good time. I came home, and I'm laying down in bed, and then she's like, what I told you, don't wash your hair with shampoo. Use something else. I'm like, what is it? Like,
so this story is so mad when you listen to it more and more, right? She's actually told him, listen, what have I told you about washing your hair? Wash your hair with what? Shampoo. Whew. My God. She's actually set this brother up. Wash your hair with shampoo whilst he's in bed. Right? Whilst he's in bed. Whilst he's in bed. Just needs to deep it. Whilst the brother was in bed, you know, she's asked her about shampoos. Yo, it's wild.
she go like this in my hair the whole time. Like this, right? Like that. I'm sleeping. I don't know what the heck is going on. And she woke up.
So everyone's still laughing because we haven't really, you know, they don't really know what's happened yet because he hasn't said it yet. He just said that he said about the shampoo in his hair and da da da. I mean, the brother's still here, so clearly, I mean, you know, clearly he hasn't died or anything, and he's appreciate Morgan, and we appreciate him for that. And then we get to here.
Hey, what's up? You know what happened?
What she doing, man?
What happened?
The whole gone. I had no more hair.
What?
Yeah, I'm going like this. My keep coming up. The more time I'm going like this, keep coming up. I'm like, what the?
Now, as he's telling the story about this situation, you know, I don't know how long his hair may have been beforehand. Who knows? Yes. Listen, you know, because he's telling the story so lightly, that's why everyone's kind of like in a light mode about it, right? But Tony kind of clocks this. So Tony's obviously listening, laughing, but he's kind of clocking the madness effectively. Okay. And at this point, he's calculating his life. Because I'm sure those conversations are now coming in his brain like, ooh, yeah. This is dangerous, baby.
What's wrong with this woman, man? She thought I was cheating. Like she think I was cheating.
There was nair in the hair.
This was the icing on the cake. I had struck.
So she thought he was cheating, but I thought they were trying to keep it light and tear up the town. Right? That's very true, Bella K. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. Literally was this. She was hurt and she knew how to hurt him. That is a very calculated maneuver. She knew how to hurt him. And the way she was going to hurt him was by getting at something that he specifically liked. She knew that his hair was important to him. She told us this later on. She knew his hair was important to him. So how do I hurt him the most? Because I thought he was cheating. No questioning, no conversation, nothing. Straight went to put a nair in the head. Just deep that, you know. Just deep it even more. There is no conversation in between. She thinks he's cheating and is in bed, and then nair goes in the hair straight away. Those are the very people who act violently because they don't actually think. They just act. That's wild. No conversation, you know. No conversation. Now, I don't even know Nair, so I don't know. Is it an American product? I'm guessing. I don't know much about Nair. I don't know if we have that brand in UK, but I'm assuming it's a hair removal thing, so or something like that. I'm guessing. But yeah, that is whew, very wild. You know, to do something like that. Let's have a little more.
And then I get on Instagram, and where's this guy? He's with his ex-girlfriend / god moms, whatever y'all got going on.
So did you?
Now, at this point, okay, Kenya, thank you. So he melts hair and instantly, damn. Okay, so at this point, you know, at this point, you know, she's explaining, saying that because he was out with his ex girl, baby mother or godmother, whatever. This is what the icing on it. She said that's the icing on the cake. Okay, that's the icing on the cake. I'm like, okay, the icing on the cake. So you're trying to say that's what from a British perspective, this is what took the biscuit. You know, what topped us over.
Tell her where you were about to go after you.
Absolutely
did
not.
Nah, I didn't tell her. I don't think she would have liked it.
I would have liked it more.
So he didn't tell her where he was going, which is wrong for. Well, it depends actually. What kind of relationship do they have? I'm still not sure what kind of relationship they had. I thought the relationship, I'm sure the relationship was, I'm sure the relationship obviously was at that point in time up in the air, or whether it was solidified that we're actually together. You know, it's a bit all over the place because we don't know. You know, we don't know whether you know, they were together or not, because they haven't really broached the situation fully. Yes, he was very defensive. He was defensive the whole entire time. Usually Tony's very laid back. He put his arm on a chair. My shoulder's hurting from the gym, but and he'll put his arm on the chair and just be like, yo, but today the brother was like this. You know, he was definitely not happy about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is very true. Do you know what? Capricorn, Moon Goddess, you are very true. Beauty privilege because she's pretty, it's almost as like, well, she's pretty and crazy. It's normal. But you're absolutely right. This is wild. Now, you know, Morgan's feelings for this guy must have been strong enough for her to actually do this, because why are we doing this if we're this strong? Why are we putting near in someone's hair if we're not feeling that person at all? Right? Why are we doing this if we didn't feel some type of way towards Junior? If there wasn't a deep sense of care and appreciation and potentially love?
You would have told me.
But it was nothing serious. So now let me ask you this. What would you do different from what I did to keep her around?
I've always been a believer that even if the truth is bad,
what he's talking about, saying if I did something different, no matter what you did, this was coming your way eventually. Because, fam, for someone to do that, it takes a level of hidden pain, right? It takes a level of hidden wounds to react this way, to think about putting near in your hair. She will see it as, I was just trying to hurt him a little bit because I know his hair was important to him, so I was taking away what was important to him. But she may not realize the escalation it took to get to this place. We need to find out what happened in her childhood, because that level of wildness is given Zadia all over again. It's given Zadia all over again. Can't lie to you. Right? It's given that Zadia energy. It's like there's unhinged behavior that's happening in this situation. Let's listen a bit more.
I don't have the mental capacity to like say something different or like leave things out, because I feel like it always comes back to bite you in the ass.
It's a simple thing. It's communication.
That's right.
Perhaps if you would have communicated that with her, the whole situation would have been something different.
Now, pause here. I'm starting to notice a lot. About Tony. I like Tony, but the problem with Tony, even in this moment, he chooses to throw a shot at Junior. This was what would you have done differently to make her stay? All right. And what you realize is in this moment that Tony uses his little bit of a speech to throw a shot at Junior. And I'm like, this again is an alpha behavior. Even again. So what's happening is I'm starting to see, Tony, that there is holes in your alpha male and your assertiveness. Your assertiveness is being put on because you're feeling, how can you be threatened by somebody who's no longer with her anymore? And blood, all he said was, the question was, what would you have done in my shoes? And then you said, perhaps if you're still trying to give a vibe. I'm like, wait, no, what? Why did you throw the shot even in his way? Listen to Lyndon's answer and listen to his, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Leave things out, because I feel like it always comes back to bite you in the ass.
It's a simple thing. It's communication.
Pause. Lyndon says, listen, I don't like to leave things out because it always comes to bite you back in the ass. Right? Cool. Now listen to Tony's answer.
That's right.
Perhaps if you would have communicated that with her, the whole situation would have been something different.
Tony goes, perhaps if you communicated with her, the whole situation would have been avoided. Why does your comment have to be about what he did? We know that already. The question was based upon what he didn't do right already. We already know. So that also told me a little bit about Tony too. Right? This also makes me think about Tony too. That, okay, this constant, oh, Lyndon isn't a threat to me. Junior's too short. I'm starting to see Tony. I'm like, Tony, why you might be drawn to Morgan now is that the insecurity, the availment. Listen, I'm not saying that Tony doesn't have assertive energy. I'm saying there may be a forced put on assertiveness also that's covering a wound. And that is where you're finding you and Morgan are actually meeting at the unhealed place. That's where you and Morgan are actually meeting and starting to like one another. It's at that rough edge, any moment now could flip kind of energy. And that's potentially where he's meeting to. I'm like, bro, why would you have to drag my, like, the question was based already on, on Junior. You know what I'm saying? The question was already on Junior. Junior was already explaining it and giving it a question based on his failed part. Perhaps if you, and it's so tiny, it's not much. It's not aggressive from Tony, but the thing is, it's passive aggressive. So it's a movement where you're, and I say passive aggressive in the sense of it's very subtle and underhanded movement. Maybe I should say a microaggression in the way that you try to downplay him a little bit, you know, in that moment. Right? By saying perhaps if you had done what you did, you wouldn't have got what you got. You're acting as if, bro, this, of course, maybe this particular moment, had he been more honest, this exact thing doesn't happen. But the reality is, this behavior will never happen if this is not Morgan's MO. Right? So it takes two. So I agree. If Junior was more honest, this situation specifically doesn't happen in that way. But because it's her MO, because it is her normal go-to, this would have happened later on. Might not have been that. It might have been something else. Okay? It might have been something else. When in Rome, not you saying about Destiny's Child. It's a different Michelle Williams.
We wouldn't be here right now, Tony. Hey, it's a possibility. I'm kind of sensing that, but you know, it's a possibility. You know.
What do you sense, sweetheart?
I'm just speaking out loud. That's all.
Again, you know, even in that moment, Tony saying to Lyndon, I'm starting to sense that, we might not have been here if this situation didn't happen, right? But again, Morgan asks him, what do you mean by that? And he said, I'm just talking from the heart, sweetheart. Tell her what you were saying. Why are you telling Lyndon and not telling Morgan straight? This is, again, the key word we're going to say now is passive aggressive. This is what it is. The passive aggressiveness, meaning not being able to say exactly the negative aspects of a behavior or something that you're seeing when you don't want to say it. Again, why not just tell her? Broski. Why not just tell her? Right? Why not just tell her?
I think Morgan was lying about her actual feelings about Junior. There's no way a woman would do the near thing if she didn't have feelings for him. Her words was not matching up to her action, and that really bothered me.
Now, this goes back to the conversation we had. Don't wash my hair top, guys. I need to get a haircut, but don't worry about that. I'm doing a roll and I can't cut it yet. But this goes back to that conversation we had 2 weeks ago. I remember I told you guys that video that I did about put me in my place. Remember that conversation, guys? I said about put me in my place. What did I tell you about that language? It always is about what? Aggression, about being physical, and about also as well how dangerous that rhetoric is, because it always comes from a place of aggression and it always comes from a place of toxicity. It's not positive. And that's why I was saying to you, notice that when she used that in that conversation some weeks ago, when I did a video on it, talking about people should not, be talking about, I want a man to put me in my place. Whenever someone says, put me in my place, men, you need to run. When a man says, I need a woman that can handle me, I need a woman that can tell me about myself at times, run. Because what they're saying to you is, I need you as a person that regulates my own behavior. And what they're telling you is actually manipulative. What you won't realize is what they're saying is, when I act out of pocket, it's because you didn't put me in my place. So what they're doing is putting so much pressure on your behavior to act a particular way, and that will mean that they will behave a particular way. You don't want to be drawn up in that. You don't want to. Right? Because they're now saying that because of you, I'll regulate myself. So as soon as you missed it, it's like, well, because you didn't regulate yourself, that's why I behaved the way I behaved. Right? So yes. Now we're in a particular place where we're now seeing Morgan telling us a story, and that's what I'm saying about the put me in my place. Where it came from comes from that particular behavior.
So there was a house full of men and women, I'm guessing, right? And then when you saw her, beyond knew she was gonna be the one.
The physical attraction was there, but it was a room full of attractive women.
Now Tony knows exactly what he said in that. I hope there was more of a conversation, and it seems more edited in that particular instance. So I'll be honest with you, it seems more edited in that place. But here again, we're hearing about obviously, the conversation between Morgan and Blake, and Blake is saying again, very pretty, but obviously the spiritual connection first. You're gonna get yourself into trouble, Tony. Okay, all right. You're gonna get yourself into trouble. That's what I'm saying. But listen, look, again, hopefully we get to maybe interview Morgan. We need to be able to understand. I think there were childhood wounds. I think there are very deep wounds that have not been sorted out yet. I think there are deep wounds that have not been spoken to in Morgan, and it is causing an abruption of a behavior that is very wild. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. Someone said Tony poking the near bear. My God. Oh man. Oh man. So you need to be able to spot the toxicity when people bring this to your door, and potentially Kenya as well. Potentially. Yeah. Potentially. So yeah, it's wild in the dunya. We definitely need to find out. But yeah, listen, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I'm gonna leave it there. I think everyone should pay attention when you're dating. When people tell you some of these kind of lines, there's toxicity in it. There's toxicity. We have to spot it. We have to cancel it. We have to kill it. Okay. All right. So we're gonna leave it there. And I appreciate all of you guys as well. But what I would say is also, before we go anywhere, guys, like this live. There's not enough of you who've liked the live. Like the live. Okay. Like the live. Like the live, guys. Okay. All right. Maybe I'm feeling kind of generous. Do I do a little £5, little $5, a little test again, guys? Should I do another $5 little test? Who remembers who said this question? Let's see if I can get one up for you guys. Let me get a question for you guys. Let's see. Okay. All right, cool. Let's do a little, I feel, let's do a little something, be fun. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can find one. All right, cool. All right, let's have this little quick one. So I'm doing just a quick one. I got a question for you guys. The first one to answer it, I'm gonna send you $5 on Cash App. Okay, the first one who answers it, I'm gonna send $5 on Cash App to you. Here is the question: Who said who said that this particular person is, sorry, let me say this again. Let me rephrase it. Who was this person talking about, I should say, when they said this person looks ready for life? Let me put it that way. Who were they talking about when they said this person looks ready for life? First person to answer will get a $5 cash app just sent to you today. Who were they talking about when they said this person looks ready for life? Who were they talking about? Okay, my sister want to crash out here. Okay. All right. I think the first person I got is Olivia Rose. Olivia Rose was the first person. It was Anthony they were talking about. It was Anthony talking about. Olivia Rose, you have won. Send me a cash app. I'll send you $5 straight or £5 if you're in UK. You won the test today. Get me? It'd be like that. So Olivia Rose, send me your cash app and then I'll send that to you as well. I'll send that to you in that as well. Okay. Let me do. Shall I do one more? Let's do one more. Let's be generous. Let's see. Let's do one more. Let's see another one. One more. Let's do one more. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's do one more. Let me do one more here, guys. Me personally, I'm trying to remember the freaking person's name myself, and I'm going for my notes. I'm like, I don't remember their name. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's put this in the chat. All right, cool. Question. Last one. One more, yeah? The question is, Jeffrey stated that she had been in a relationship for 12 years. But then she says she was what? Then she says the first guy stayed away, or she hasn't seen the guy for X amount of years. How many years did she stay? She says she's been in a relationship for 12 years. The first guy was with him for 12 years, but she hasn't seen him or heard from him in the last how many? Ooh, baby. Y'all be swift with this thing. Okay. I think Miss Ione was the first person to get it as well. 6 years is the correct answer. Miss Ione, send me a cash app. I will send it to you as well. I need to find where Olivia Rose, if you send it to me. If you don't want to put it on here, send an email to me and your cash app and I'll get it. I'll put my email across the screen and you can send it to me and I'll send you a cash app as well. And you can send me a little email. So let me just put this here. All right. Cool. All right. Send me a little cash app there. All right. Send me your if you want to send me an email, if you don't want to put it in the chat. Why is that doing that? I didn't type it properly. And I will send it to you. Or you want to put it in the chat, I can do it for you as well. Either way. And I'll send you both Olivia and Mrs. Ione. And I'll send you a little something. All right. Okay. Someone said put the money in the stash fund. Get out of here. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Much love and appreciation. We were back on later on tonight. We're back on later on tonight for the full super panel, Ready to Love. And I know the smoke is going to be elite tonight. I feel it. My people are going to come through with elite smoke. I can feel it tonight. Okay. All right. So we appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. All right. And we will see you guys again later on tonight. All right. Much love and appreciation. Appreciate y'all. But I'll wait before I leave. You know, I have to do this.
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.